Hey Raid, this is Nazarek. Welcome to another Friday Fiver. You got me here on the left, and you have
EOD Janks over here on the right.
long time no see. How are you guys doing? So
I
we
hope
got a lot.
everybody in the Raider Nation's doing great.
We had a lot of things happen, and yet some things that didn't happen, such as Conquest. What do you think of that?
You know, I was on a roll. I actually got crystal refreshes back just the other day. I put some money down on it. I was trying to get through normal this time. I will admit I slacked, but I'm looking forward to when they bring back.
I started right out of the gate rolling pretty hard, so I took advantage of those disc. What do you want to call them? The tokens that we get from Conquest. I know I should say that, but so I ended up with like
discs.
the data discs. Yep, I pulled like 500 something out of that, and then I got my crystals back on top of it. So, but man, I was rolling really nicely with those data discs that I was stacking. I mean, I had.
Oh, you're talking about the galactic credits.
Yeah, the galactic credits is what I ended up. I got 500 of those, and I got to keep those, so I was pretty happy with that. Though, if I knew that was going to happen, I would have burned more crystals and see if I could have gotten to a Razor Crest shard shop, but I couldn't find any of those.
From what I heard, not to cut you off, bud, but from what I heard, they're going to let everybody keep those.
Yeah.
So you'd be ahead of the game if you had done that.
But since I didn't hear it, then once I got back to the keyboard, when I saw the announcements on Discord, they already pulled the plug, and I was just going to burn crystals. So I don't know how much further I could have gotten because my stamina was really lacking. But I had the data disc stack just in my favor. I was rolling 7 deep with buffs, and I had 2 cooling systems, deployed cooling systems on there. So I was no longer looking to try to get the data disk stack set up to get my loop rolling. I was just in the point where I needed improvement to get blues or maybe a purple, such as Booming Voice. But I was set really nicely. Yeah.
You were at least one tier above me when it happened.
So I was finishing off Sector 2, about ready to roll into 3 when that happened. So I was going pretty nicely through.
Oh, we were pretty close.
Yeah. But so at least it lets me set up. I'm getting close to finishing off Moth Gideon to 7-star. So if the Conquest is set up like we've seen before, which almost is identical to the first 2 times, if not identical to the first 2 times, I'm expecting Turn Meter to be a big thing.
Right. I went right after Gideon.
Yeah.
The minute he dropped in Cantina, I went hard. He's already at 12. And if I hadn't stopped to go after my Supreme Emperor, he would have been my next relic. And he probably will be.
I'm less than 30 shards away from 7, and I'm sitting there completed at 11 as far as I can go, so he's not going to be too far off.
You know, I didn't post it, but it did happen. Got my first tier 2 win in an assault battle.
Nice.
With my troopers.
Yeah, I've got some Impy envy for you here, because that is such a fun squad.
And I do, because you have that beautiful tune called JKL.
Well, we have a lot of raid members that are doing that now too. They've got the JKL, and on top of that, they just said, you know what, we got JKL, might as well just throw on Jedi Master Luke as well on top of that. So they just skipped both of them.
We got a light side coming up.
Yes. So continuing on the conversation with Conquest, as of we're talking right now, I'm taking a look, and it's 2 days and 17 hours away from next one. So towards the end of the weekend.
Good, they put the timer on.
So looking forward to that.
Looking forward to that.
Now, a couple of things I've been looking at is, first off, I gotta say the data disc that gets me the most excited on Conquest is those silly heals over time. And that's because it gives you 2 buffs for 1 dot.
Yes. It's a beautiful thing.
Yes. I know I like the defensive and I like the offensive buffs, but really, I really don't care what it gives you as long as it gives you the buffs, because we're trying to go for that loop.
Right. Right. With your setup, with your hard character. All right, that beautiful thing with that green lightsaber that I'm looking at right here on the B-roll.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You know that. Oh. You know, I am a Jedi like my father before I. I gotta say, yeah, healing him up is probably the best thing going.
Well, and I mean, he's great for Conquest, but he takes a backseat to Grandmaster Yoda. He takes a backseat to Darth Vader. He takes a backseat even to some other ones that I'm starting to see come across, like Han Solo. If you get the right data stack and he's set up right, he just keeps blasting.
Yeah. I mean, if you can get Vader fast enough, or Nest in the normal. Now, granted, mine's Relic 4 at the moment. They can eat up teams and not kill a whole bunch of teams.
Right.
For you. But you're also not getting the credit for X amount of teams towards the 33 or 66 for you in the hard nodes, if that makes sense.
Yeah. But then there's even ones that are a little less obvious, but if you get enough buffs to get the cooldown set, even like Nihilus. Nihilus just on every turn, essentially disintegrate him and Mando. You throw those on there, and if you got enough buffs to turn down the cooldown that they get an every turn type of disintegrate.
The one trick with that is you still got to get the contracts.
Yeah. Contracts for Mando, but Nihilus is just... I saw a squad that once Nihilus came up, he already had his cooldowns, and he was just smoking them left and right.
I got to do more research.
And also on Conquest...
Probably sexy.
Yeah. I got to go and find it again. If I find it, I'll throw it out on Discord. And maybe it wasn't the first turn, but it was just right off the bat. And it's just like his turn. I'm assuming they had some type of data disk to get turn meter back up. But Nihilus just every turn had to bring him down, bring him down, bring him down, bring him down. It was done.
What?
And
I don't have an air horn button.
And who was it? It was a Sith. It was a Sith squad, and I think it was with. It wasn't Marauder. I think it was with the assassin, and the assassin was doing something. I have to find it, but the assassin was taking a couple turns because it was getting extra turn meter. I think it was throwing buffs.
Was that on the Tube of You?
No, I think it was off of Reddit. I know we just celebrated 420, but it's not today, and it's starting to feel like I'm still celebrating it. I'll have to go and find it and bring it up.
Just went legal in New York State.
To you, our friends in New York State. You happy for getting things?
They're going to tax the bejeebus out of it.
So then something else. So on Conquest, a couple of other items is, now when I roll through, I look through every node from top to bottom, and I try to find at least one Night Sister with a zombie in each sector if I can, because on the first one you needed advantage. And so with advantage, one thing you could do is take R2-D2 with a smoke screen and Smokescreen gives advantage. If you throw that onto Grandmaster Yoda does the spread, and that's 5 advantages right there. If he doesn't just keep spreading.
That's a good one.
So you can take care of that just like that. But I look through that in each sector just because if there's anything that says do this X number of times, you just load up right against the zombie. So plan that out.
And I do my first order when it asks for advantage.
I don't have my first
order officer.
I have to go and get around first order because my first order squad is abysmal, so I can't do anything with it. So that's why I have to look at the other way.
Horrible. Mine is horrendous, but I can still get the advantage out there 20 times.
Yes. And then also, so to be honest, there's really 2 characters that you walk into Conquest with trying to set up the loop. That's Darth Vader and Yoda. I mean, you try to build up after that, but those are the 2 major ones. So when I go into Conquest, I try to... Merciless. Yes. Love that. But I try to build up multiple squads off of those 2 characters because of the stamina. And the reason why is I start using consumables, but if you have a full squad, all of a sudden go down to 10%. Once one of those consumables that increase your stamina, that's a stimulus pack or stim pack. What do they call it? You can't buy enough of those to go and bring a whole squad, and even if you did, that only gives you a few turns. But let's say you have Yoda and you have him built with 4 characters, and you have another squad built with another 4 characters. They can stay up at the 190 and 80% while Yoda's going down, and then you get one of those stim packs to bring Yoda back up, and you can keep trucking through with crystals if you need to. You can't do that if you use the exact same 5 over and over and over again.
Right.
So I try to break out some, so I don't have just the holy 5 and then another holy 5 and then watch them only get about 10 steps in and that's it. I try to go and see if I can go and throw someone that's just garbage, but he's there to take another hit. And I try to do that with Darth Vader.
Gotcha.
Okay. So then when I do get a stim pack, throw it on Yoda, and that's 2 different squads that are still alive, or 3 different squads with
thing.
Yoda. Yep. So what we saw in Conquest is, I think in Sector 2, you had to win with Jedi 14 times.
Right.
The global...
Well, 10 in normal.
Right. And then there was the global, which unguarded, which was win 20 times without a tank. You can do that with a mixture of light and dark, but...
Oh, absolutely.
So that's a couple of things on there that I would say is look for Night Sisters, break up your squads around Yoda and Darth Vader, and also try to just keep pushing on. I see there's feats and you're thinking, okay, well, I just need to do a few more of these things to clean up that feat. I'm to the point where you got to push on until you get the data disk stack, and just if you get 1 star, great, that's one more step forward. Then you'll come back and clean it up if you have to, but I don't spend the time on Sector 1 trying to clean up all the feats before moving Sector 2. Get all the way to Sector 5. Maybe you'll be purple and blue and knee deep and all that great stuff before.
Get to the end.
Yeah.
And then hopefully all you've got to do is go back to like 1 or 2 and do the boss feats.
Yes.
And that was what I was looking at this time. So I was cruising right along, and I had everything 3-starred. I was just trucking right along. And then I got to the end, and I was like, all right, now I got to go back to do that one, but let me go into the next one and get as far into that. And then go to bed, and then wake up in the morning, and then try to get those feats again.
I hope they have stamina back.
When you were talking about the tankless, I would take my 501st and I'd put shock in instead of fives. I'd still keep it within, light and dark. I apologize, everyone.
Luke needs to talk.
He's talking to his mother.
So switching gears from Conquest, we got to go to a topic that I know is more near and dear to your heart here, and that's the change of GAC. How about that?
That is a hot an item. Beep.
I'll figure that out later.
Sorry. I hope you can bleep that.
Yeah, I'll get rid of it.
I gotta get a stream deck. But so I dropped from Division 1 to, much like everybody else did, 3 divisions. I'm in 4 now. I still got to put up 2 more ground squads, and now I save a fleet. So I can go hard with what I'm going to put on my fleet, knowing that I'm going to have some extras in case the other person goes hard. And that's kind of where we're at. Like, I went gear 12 for squads.
Mm-hmm.
And my whole guild laughed at me. And now they're going, the bald man might have been right.
I did call you Yoda before, so that does kind of fit.
See, in the future I can.
So I'm sitting at 5.7 for galactic power here, but my split is more towards the character side, so it doesn't hurt me as much. But I know that our guild is sitting more heavily on the ship side, so my split's like 3.5 and 2.2. So 3.5 being how much galactic power set for my characters, and 2.2 for my ships. But most of that's tied up into the negotiator and the malevolence. So I have one for defense, though malevolence isn't set with the ships that I need to make it a really good defensive ship or a fleet. And then I have negotiator to go and punch through most things. But I know we have River Boy, we have a lot of members in our guild that are heavy in the ships, and that's a punch to whatever part of the anatomy you want to say. But now they're being hamstrung because they may have 3 or 4 solid fleets.
Well, fleets are this thing that are beautiful and disgusting all at the same time. And with that, we also have Galactic Legends that changes the dynamic of those fleets.
Right.
All right. So, say you're doing the Supreme Emperor.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all have to excuse me, whiskey helps. Say you're doing Supreme Emperor. Now, you've just taken Sith Marauder, Palpatine, Royal Guard, Vader. All of those are pilots. Now, 2 of those go together, but the rest of them, they all have their own individual ship.
Right.
And if you're building, you might want to put... Oh, come on. I have to apologize, Raiders. Miss Jackie Brown, the baddest cat is trying to get in on this. So, it all comes down to fleets. When you're building your fleets and you're going towards those galactic legends, a handful of characters along the way are fleets. So why wouldn't we want to do that? I have always gone after my fleets, my pilots, and done everything that I could to make that happen. So it's a beautiful thing. Now it's going to be a pain, because what's going to happen is I'm going to be like, oh, this guy only put up one fleet, but it's like the Malevolence, and all I've got is my negotiator, and I might clear it in one, or I might have to do two. Well, let's hope I can at least get it in one. So I'm looking forward to it. We get this month where we don't have it, and then next month is when we'll get into that. So we'll hit it first for a 3v3, because that's how everything works. We get a 5v5 and a 3v3, and your boy EOD will be back streaming for the 5v5.
So yeah, I get it when you're talking about having pilots, and those pilots are going to go and increase the strength of your fleet, but you need them anyway. But I do see that there is a lot to the fleet where it's going to bloat your GP, because you might be chasing a ship that is completely pilotless, and that's going to increase your GP. Or you're going to chase down like the PK, and you're not going to use him normally other than being a pilot for your negotiator fleet. So those are things that people chase because they're valuable in the fleet, but they don't help you in GAC off the break, if you want to say it that way.
I mean, I've been known to put PK in there if I've used Shock T elsewhere.
Right, okay. But that's not the case with all pilots.
Right.
And really, when you get to GAC, you really only need 2 or 3 fleets if there's only one defending fleet, right? 2 essential.
Correct.
3 if you have to clean up.
That is correct.
And I can tell you, I don't have the finalizer yet. I don't have the radius. And I don't have the ships for them.
Well, I just started my finalizer.
Okay.
And he's still at 4 stars. He's dragging it. And my Malevolence is at 5 stars. And my Redis is still sitting there collecting dust.
Yes.
And
I have no desire to chase that one yet.
I'm going to be the first one to admit, Redis and any and everything for Jedi Training Gray, or Supreme Ray, or whatever they're calling it, that's not going to be my priority anytime soon.
Right. Well, and kind of related, but so before I go off onto this tangent, I think if they would have dropped the requirements for ships, maybe a couple million, or not a couple million, but $1 million to get into the 2 fleet, because I think at this point, if you're going to be classified over 5, you should be able to field 2 fleets, or else you should just be classified as.
I gotta ask.
Yeah.
Where are you saying that they're posting like your fleets at this, and you're gonna do that?
So on Discord, there was somewhere where they were saying how many fleets that you could put on defense. Maybe I'm off my gourd here, but I thought they said that I'm going to be in the Division 4, and I'm only going to need one fleet for defense.
Right. So the original thing was if you were in Division 2 or 1, under the current situation,
yeah,
you needed 2 and 2.
2 and 2. Yep.
So everybody's still operating currently that at 2 and 1, you need 2 and 2. So at 4 and 3, where we're currently at, we're still just going to need 1.
Right, but I'm thinking we should have 2. That's where the people that, if you have developed your ships and fleets where I think you should, I feel like I'm way behind. And this comes as a bonus to me.
I'm still with you. No, I'm with you. If, like myself, like I've got a couple decent fleets.
Mm-hmm.
I can't do anything with them. I can do something with 1, but I can't do it with the additionals.
I just think if you can field a defensive that's super powerful and an offense that's super powerful, I'd like to see GACs being where if you go offensive heavy, then you're kind of shortchanging yourself on defense. So you kind of have to play this balancing game. But if you have a good squad for this and a good squad for that, and you're done.
That's my understanding of what they're doing here.
Okay.
Okay, because I mean, I've been punching up 6.5 when I'm at 5.5. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to bring this back together. So they're trying to alleviate that, hey, you're in Division 1, which originally was 4 mil, or whatever it was.
Mm-hmm.
And then that had an unendless gap. One that we couldn't attain unless we krakened.
Right.
And now it's putting the Krakens together. It's putting the mid-level Krakens or the I've been here since the start together. And then it's putting the next level of people that have krakened but aren't quite there together. You know, that's how I look at it.
I just feel like they're taking a little bit. So for me, I mean, it's no skin off my nose, but I know that there's been individuals on Discord, and I feel that they're right to say that they're undervaluing the fleets. And if they take and lower the requirements for the fleets, they're going to just water down the fleets even that much more. And this is one of the few things that you can say, okay, I've got a really strong fleet, and it takes forever to develop ships and fleets in this game. I mean, I started a reroll account, and it is extremely painful to try to get your ships up there. And I'm starting from day 1 when I was able to start putting my ships together. It's ugly. I mean, it's ugly. And then so I have people that went this route knowing that, hey, my back line's going to be solid because I have good ships, so I've got an advantage because I went that route. I feel like you're really cutting their legs out from underneath them.
And that sounds a lot like what Cubs ran into. You know, he was like, I don't like fleet. I don't like anything to do with it. I want to focus on my ground. And you kind of saw the writing on the wall. Like, this is their little thing, like they've developed, and they want that little thing to carry. I mean, all these ships are iconic, and they want us to still use them. It's not just about the pilots.
So let me put it this way. Why do you think the ships are so... feels so painful to deal with? I mean, why aren't more people jumping up on ships?
Well, currently it's because they're still at the single drop for the blueprints.
Right.
All right. And then the other part is it's a dual spectrum. We've talked about this before in a Fiverr, where if you have, you know, and we've begged and pleaded and complained enough that they changed it, and they did. And when they changed it, now we have a Y-wing, another Y-wing, another tank. They're all pilotless, but those pilotless ones don't get the luxury of mods.
So the hyena
and don't get the exactly. They don't get the tie-in from these other things. So these other ships, they require, so like say you've got malevolence.
Mm-hmm.
You got 2 droids that don't require pilots. And the only other good things to put with them are the rest of your separatists.
Well, and then so I get that, and
Those separatists though gets mods.
But I get that, but the other argument is, if we went that route, then ships that have like 3 crew members should be the ultimate ships out there, and those are going to be like your Ghost, your Phantom. What are a couple of the other 3 crews?
Phantom's 2.
Is it 2? I thought it was 3.
No,
3 the Phoenix Squad, 1 and 3 the other one.
There's only 2. There's Ghost, and then the Kylo Ren's command ship.
And
those are the only 2 that I know of that have 3.
And how many fleets do you base those on?
2.
Because I don't use that with my Malevolence, and I wouldn't use that with my Negotiator Squad. Those are the 2.
No, but that's because those capital ships though are the meta.
Right.
So your finalizer that you're going to use Kylo Ren's command ship with, that one, that's a counter to most things. That's a counter to most metas. And so is the Rebels, where you have the Ghost. Because in Ghost, you have Kanan, Hera, and Zeb. And then for the First Order one there, it's Supreme. No, it's not Supreme. It's Kylo Mast, Phasma, and I want to say Stormtrooper or Executioner.
I can check that up right here.
But I mean, either way, I mean, those 6 characters that if you put mods on, those ships become fast as. I mean, so say, like, I just opened up the Emperor shuttle. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And for a while, that Emperor shuttle was just like, it's just kind of there. But now, because I'm going for Supreme Emperor, my Royal Guard and my Palp are both in the Relic.
Right.
And I could mod those out of my brain to make them fast. Those are going to make the ships fast too. If you've watched most people that tell you how to do the gas event or the Jedi Luke event, they tell you can do the ship at the lowest possible, but you got to mod the pilot to make them amazing. So that alone in and of itself says that if I want to make my pilot great for GAC, it's not so much the ground part that I need to worry about. Let's make their ship unbeatable.
Right. And
does that make sense?
It does. And put what I'm saying to the weight that it deserves, because my ship and my fleets are still pretty green, other than having two meta fleets. But I just haven't seen too much, and I've got to go and do some more studying on fleets, other than being able to do territory wars, or not territory wars, but territory battles. I just don't feel like the three crew membered ships carry their weight for the amount of energy and sweat and tears you have to put into them in fleet battles.
Absolutely correct.
So that's why. So then when I look at a pilotless ship, and it's great versus like Ghost, and I look at how much blood I put into that, I'm like,
blood, sweat, tears, and money you put into that. And no, I get it completely.
And the amount of energy that you got to pour into one of them, I mean, you still get one shard if you hit versus one shard if you hit. It's not like, okay, the crew members, now that's a different factor. The crew members might give you 2 if you hit versus 1 of the new members if you hit for like negotiator or the
Completely understandable.
So that's why I think that's where I'm getting where fleets just feel kind of broken for the excitement level.
Absolutely. I mean, let's face it, like Cara Dune just became a 2-drop versus a 1. Cara came out month and a half, year and a half, actually.
Yeah.
After Malevolence. I can't get double drops on Malevolence. Ships 90%, with the exception of the pilotless ones, have been out since they dropped ships.
Yes.
And not a single one of them is double drop.
And as many of them as I have at 7-star, I couldn't tell you how to pilot them because I wouldn't use them. I only look at the 2 metas just because of that's the things I look at.
And that's with Fleet Arenas.
Yep.
And your GAC. I mean, I've built, luckily, I saw this, the GAC on the wall, to make it funny here. And I built some fleets that could cover.
Yep.
Do I have the clairvoyance about it? Not at all. But
and
I have an idea.
The Razor Crest is coming out, and I'm going, guns out for that because of Conquest, and that's fun for Conquest. And Razor Crest looks like it's going to be worth its weight in gold. But the things to pilot it, you need Beskar armor Mando, and I've gotten Beskar armor Mando. The Mandalorians that you have to get aren't as exciting. I mean, Cara Dune is going to be good in a Moth Modma. I can't say it tonight. I'm sorry, Raid.
Mama's team.
Yeah, Mama's team. And is that squad still viable? I mean, we're not even using that too much in territory battles too much anymore. We're moving on to taking that out of the sector. Still a good squad, but it's not as great as it used to be.
No, because there are counters.
Right.
But so you need Cara, you need Quill, you need IG, you need non-Beskar Mando.
Right. And you need Grief
to get your Beskar Mando. And Grief. All right, the characters from the TV show.
Right.
And then anybody that's watched any and all of the endgame use.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pointing at Arnold or Cubs or any of the others that are endgame now. They're what I call endgame.
Right.
All their characters are unlocked. All their characters are at 7 stars. Okay. Whether they've got all the GLs or not, they're at endgame. You're not getting the same quality out of that legendary character that you would out of a Commander Luke Skywalker or any of the other ones we had to fight to get.
Well, and are you excited to get Beskar armor Mando on his own? Because
I stopped.
I've gotten Beskar Mando, and he's not exciting. And I was like, okay, well, I went through there, so once I get the ship, and now I've just stumbled across my bounty hunters being really nice, but that was because of Grief and Mando himself, not because of Beskar. So I'm hoping later on that'll fall in there. But I'm really liking what they're doing for my bounty hunter squad. They've really gotten some blood to them with those 2 characters, but it's not because of Beskar armor. Which is amazing, yeah. So I'm hoping he's a good pilot.
And I'm with you. And they're claiming that his pilot with the Razor Crest is going to be Raven-esque.
Okay.
But what we're running into is, in order to get that beautiful Raven-esque ship that really doesn't have a capital ship, keep that in mind.
Yep.
That doesn't have a capital ship, unless you're going to use Tarkin. Because most of us you're using Thrawn for other things. We're running into this where we have characters and pilots that are useless. Like, that character as in and of itself is relatively, I mean, yeah, he can do some damage at mid-level, but we want to go after Galactic Legends, not the Beskar.
And also,
like,
with
I quit my Beskar farm, and I'm one part away from getting Beskar, just to go after a Galactic Legend.
well, you see Cara Dune going to 2 shards. Why not wait at this point, right? Because you're not going to have the ship for a Razor Crest until
Exactly.
Several months out. At that point, why not wait until you start hitting 2s? Because Beskar himself isn't going to put you in a god squad of any sort.
Preach, my brother. Testify.
So, and then even then, as much as I like Grief, as much as I like Mando in my Bounty Hunter squad, the thing that I was using the Bounty Hunter squad for was mainly for the assault battles. And that gets blown up by the Imp squad right there as well. So you go and put in...
Pull the Imp squad out, and you tank it up.
Then you're done.
I mean, initially, the only thing we needed Bounty Hunters for was Chewie.
Yes.
And now that we got Chewie, we use it for cleanup team.
It's a good squad, but it doesn't put you in the realm of, well, we got this, so we could go and use this. It's a good squad. I love it. It's fun, but it's not one that I'm going to go and put there in saying, okay, well, I got this, so I don't have to worry about this anymore, or I'm putting this in this position. Helps a little bit in territory wars, I'm not going to lie. I mean, there's certain spots where you can fill it in, but there's better squads for that. GACs, I'll definitely put that in the lineup somewhere, but Imp squad is definitely the way to go.
Well, and the Imp squad carries over. All right, so let's go on with this one. The Imp squad carries over for not just the Rebel Roundup, which we just had, but that also covers the Endor one, where it's either droids or Imps, where you're facing all Ewoks.
Yes.
All right, and the glory with that one is once you get past 4, nobody else has got an immediate turn, so you're not going to get your Emperor's demise knocked down. You can run basic from 5 to 8 on that one and run the table.
Well,
it's something to think about.
Definitely. But it's you run into these squads like Mama Squad and Bounty Hunter Squad, and they were fun, but they start falling off the shelf pretty quick.
That's why most of my marquees, all right, and this is a good transition. Most of my marquees stop at 65. Now I will give you 3 current, and my next ones are going to grow, and mine are going to grow here shortly. I got my Death Trooper, my Hunter, and my Tech at 3, or at 65. You need 65 for the next low.
Right.
Those 3, as soon as they are farmable, I'm going after. along with Wreck, Wrecker, and Crosshair. As soon as they come up, as soon as that Bad Batch is ready, I'm going. And when I say this, I'm also making mention that my Cody, as soon as I'm done farming for Supreme Emperor, my Cody's going to a 7, or as high as I can get him. All right, we only got a handful of people in the guild that can do the Kenobi Sergeant Cody thing on light side. I'm going to be one of them.
Nice.
Because Cody, I think, is the key on the 5th one.
Seen a lot of love for Cody coming out.
And I know that Rex is in the show, but in season 7, they talk about Cody was like, I've done a lot of work with Bad Batch. So that leads one to believe he would have a good synergy.
Right on.
And we don't have to put him in the lead.
Mm-mm.
Because we can get the cooldown, which is already at 2 to begin with, for a mass assist. So he does that mass assist. Hunter gets a turn, shoots over the turn. We go. Everybody else goes, and then Cody goes again. Mass assist. You're looking at a imp squad with a Galactic Republic synergy.
Nice.
That's the way I look at it.
Well, Chief, I think we've hit 5 minutes. What do you think?
Oh, I think we overachieved as always.
Well, it's been a long time, so I'll have to just deal with that, right?
I'll get over it.
Well, we'll have to send this off. So, what are the words for the wisdom leaving this particular session?
Keep powder dry, Raiders.
Have a good one, Raiders.